Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.
Prime Big Deal Days is here.
Woohoo!
Which can lead to involuntary deal squeals, like the classic deal on a new blender squeal. Yeah! Save big this Prime Big Deal Days. On now.
Ms. Callender, I'm sure your computer science class is fascinating. I happen to believe that one can survive in modern society without being a slave to the idiot box.
That's TV. The idiot box is TV. This is the good box.
I still prefer a good book.
The printed page is obsolete. Information isn't bound up anymore. It's an entity. The only reality is virtual. If you're not jacked in, you're not alive.
Welcome to another episode of Boys Watching Buffy. We're just two boys watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We are your hosts. I am Joe Welke.
I am Vance.
And today we're talking about episode 8, I, Robot, You, Jane.
The title, I was so excited for this just because of the title that we teased last episode, and it lived up to the
Oh yeah, it delivered. It delivered.
It delivered 100%. I think we just fully hit the stride of Buffy. Like
Absolutely.
We're 8 episodes in, and it is. Yeah, they know what they're doing now.
Yeah, it was directed by Stephen Posey, written by Ashley Gable and Thomas Swiden. The original air date was April 28th, 1997, to an audience of 2.47 million people. And dude, after watching this episode, I was like, how did this show make it? You know?
Was this episode like after a break? When was the last episode?
Yeah, there was a 2-week break.
Yeah, okay. This seems like one of those ones that, like, all right, a little mini retool, and let's just kind of come out swinging.
Yeah, the last episode was April 14th. This one was April 28th. So they had a week off, and they were like, we need to come back with a bang.
Yeah. Like this is that, like, after the mid-season break, if it's only 1 week, but yeah.
Yeah, dude. Should we just get into this episode? Like,
we have to.
This episode is insane.
Yeah, this could be a longer one. We'll see. We'll try to keep it short.
Yeah, so we start off the episode with a flashback to 1418 in Italy, where there is a demon named Moloch who is getting some guy named Carlo to profess his love for him. Yeah. And Carlo's like, yeah, I love you. And then he just grabs his head and snaps his neck very easily.
Yep.
So Carlo's dead.
And when that happened, I was like, okay, so did he turn Carlo into a demon too? Like, what was the neck snapping part? And I was like, that was it.
Well, I knew that this was titled I, Robot, You, Jane, and this started off very demonic. So I was like, where's the robot going to come?
Yeah. Oh, they definitely buried the lead.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, so the demon kills Carlo, and there's a group of priests that realize that Moloch is running amok and killing people and blah, blah, blah. And they, I guess, I don't want to say cast a spell, but like a reverse spell hex type thing.
An enchantment or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they trap Moloch in a book. And they bury the book, and they're like, let's hope to God no one ever opens this book, because if they do, Moloch will run amok again. And then they close it into this like covenant type thing. And I guess they bury it. And then
I don't know what. I think they just put it in a library. Like it looked like they just put a lid on a box.
Yeah. And then flip to present day Buffy opening. Pretty sweet transition.
Great transition.
Sweet transition.
You know it's gonna happen. You know it's gonna go to Buffy. I was like, is this at Buffy's house? Like first I was like, when she opened, I was like, really? It got delivered to Buffy's house? Because it would have made sense in a way. Like her mom is an art person.
That would make sense, yes.
But also, I guess this library gets ancient texts delivered to a public school.
Right?
Like this should be in like a museum or something, and it's being delivered to Giles.
Yeah. I mean, Giles, have it sent to your house.
Also, if it's that important and there's a whole world of watchers, why is the thing being shipped around?
I have no idea, dude. Like, and also it's in like, I'm guessing a stone box. Like you have to know that it's something special. It's not just like this is our monthly shipment of books to like restock the library. It's like a very special text.
Yeah, there's something else about this book that I'll bring up later because
yeah. So Buffy opens the book and she's like, oh, cool, whatever. Giles is getting bullied by the computer lady teacher named Miss Calendar.
Yeah.
And she's bullying him for liking books. And the students are bullying him for liking books.
Yeah, this is it's weird because now I was like, okay, we just got new student fodder to get killed. Mm-hmm. Like once I saw these two new kids that are, for some reason, there's like 3 or 4 computers in the library.
Yeah.
And the computer science teacher, Miss Calendar, yeah. She's giving Giles crap for like not being in the computers. This guy Fritz is like, if you're not, what does he say?
He said, if you're not jacked in,
you're not alive.
I was waiting for him to say, if you're not jacked in, you're a jack off or something. Or
there's a part where he's jacking in and it's like he's jacking off.
Dude, I don't know. I don't understand that terminology at all. I've never heard anyone say jacked in.
I think that was like early, like Matrix-esque, when you plugged. I think it's like the dial-up era of internet where you had to be plugged into something. But yeah, he goes hard with it. And why are they there? They're there to scan books in?
Yeah. They're scanning books into the computer.
That didn't happen. That never was a thing. Like all those books were not just being digitized in a public library by 3 people.
Yeah. Yeah. For some reason, Xander's there too, like not even a part of the class. And he's wearing a shirt that says porn star on it.
Thank you. I was like, what is it? What is it? It has that old like 70s like font.
Yeah.
And he actually ends up leaving like Giles and the teacher, they're having a little like back and forth about tech and analog and whatever. Buffy's about to bounce. The other 2 guys leave, and then Willow's like, hey, do you want to stick around, Xander? He's like, I love you, but I'm gonna leave. And I was like, ooh, he dropped an L-bomb on her.
Right. Just giving her some false hope.
Yeah, and she didn't even like take that and fawn over it. I thought she would have like fell over. But
but instead she is scanning the Demon Malik book into the computer, which like I would look at that book and be like, who's going to be able to fucking read this? It's like a bunch of weird, like ancient hieroglyphs.
Yeah. And I'm going to say one, like that's like it was like Scanomatic. It was on the screen. Which it came in way too perfectly. It would have been all whatever.
Yeah.
One, I was going to save this for later, but the cover of that book is a demon.
Yeah, with little jewel eyes.
Yeah. And you're like, I guess it's my job to scan this book. What are you scanning this book for?
Nah, I have no idea.
He doesn't scan all of his books. Giles doesn't even like the computer, and he's the only one who could ever figure this out. Who are you scanning it for? But yeah, it's she just starts to do it. Extra credit, I guess.
Yeah, it made no sense whatsoever at all. But I did like the Scanomatic. I saw it and there was like a green glowing thing when it's scanning. I was like, this is so stupid.
I love it. I can't wait to see all the interesting tech and stuff. The dated references of technology.
Yeah. So then we get a flash on the screen that just says, "Where am I?" Because now you know that he's been uploaded into the cyberspace. And then we get the opening sequence.
I will say, as much as I've been like ripping that scene, like in the logistics of it all, it's a great way to open an episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now we got this weird demon that we don't really know a lot about that's in a computer.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's a threat.
Yeah.
It's a threat these days, Vance.
Yeah.
Upload a demon to the computer, we're screwed.
It's something that people don't talk about enough.
Actually, it's kind of the premise of a movie that we did on the Anime Movie Podcast called Summer Wars. And it was like a virus gets uploaded onto the net and starts messing with the world. And I mean, all of the threats they talk about with a demon online in this episode, the virus in Summer Wars was doing. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought it could be doing a little more, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely could be doing a little more.
But the internet's limited then, so.
Yeah. So we get back from the opening and Willow is in school and she's looking real happy. And Buffy's like, "What are you so happy about?" And she's like, "I found someone." And Buffy's like, "Oh, who is it?" And Willow's basically just kind of like, "It's the demon from..."
It's the demon from a book I scanned in.
Yeah, but no, not exactly. His name is Malcolm, which is similar to Malako. Mm-hmm. And they were talking all night long on the net. And Buffy's like, "That's a little suspicious."
Did Willow not find it strange when random text came up and the first thing it said was, "Where am I?"
No, dude, she's a patsy.
They made it seem like the demon had a power where he could make you fall in love with him. Because
he's Moloch the Corruptor is what he's called.
Yeah, but like that guy Carlo sees him and he's in full demon form. He's like, "Do you love me?" And he's like, "Yeah." And it's like, what made that Carlo character from the opening like love him? Like it's not like a succubus or something or a siren song or something where it like lures you in. It's just, "Hey, where am I? Hi, I'm typing on a random..." I don't even know if this computer has a chat room.
Willow's the perfect person just because she like doesn't get any attention, and she brings that up to Buffy when Buffy's like being suspicious. She's like, "Look, dude, I don't get a lot of guys' attention. Like, this is nice, and why aren't you happy for me?"
Yeah. Also, this world is full of demons and evil people.
Yeah, but so once Buffy's kind of like letting her suspicions be known, the demon accesses a webcam and sees what Buffy looks like, it all pixelated.
Yeah.
Goes through the school records, finds her information, and then tells the two other computer guys, Dave and Fritz, who we saw earlier, tells them to keep an eye on Buffy because she is a no good piece of poop.
Yeah, which is one of those things where it's like, why are you worried about Buffy?
Right?
like you have no, like they kind of explain why he's going for Willow, but it's like no reason for him to be so worried about Buffy at this point. And there's a couple of things in this. One, we get to see that Buffy's GPA is 2.8.
Yep.
And also, they're in the computer lab, and Miss Carpenter, is that it?
Calendar.
I don't know what I'm getting. Just with Miss Calendar, she comes in, and she has the classic sunglasses, coffee, like she spent the night out, or she's hungover.
Hungover teacher.
The 90s hungover look, which is like, oh. And she walks in, and she's like, what was she doing all night? I thought we were going to... At that point, I wrote, oh... We mispredicted Giles and Buffy's mom.
Yeah.
This definitely. I was like, she definitely spent the night at Giles. She came in like that. It was like the classic, like, they went out. You know, Giles is an alcoholic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But.
Yeah. She comes in all frazzled. It's like, Buffy, what are you doing here? You're not in this class.
Yeah, I have a free period. Well, make it quick. I'm like, do we need any of that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But, then we get, Xander, like, sees Willow, and he, like, tries to sneak up from her from behind. He's like, guess who? And she's like, Xander. And he's like, yeah, but you kind of killed my fun, so keep guessing. She's like, Xander? He's like, oh, how'd you know?
Like,
Xander's so weird, dude.
Yeah, and this is like his best action episode too.
Yeah. He has a moment.
Yeah, this show gets real meta, which I'm really loving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Willow's basically explaining to Xander, like, no, I met somebody, and he's like, well, you want to go to the Bronze? And she's like, nah. And he's like, but I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be making fun of people. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to talk to this computer guy. I'd rather hang out with a soulless computer than to be around you.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, man.
I loved it. Like, that's when you know something's wrong. You don't want to go to the Bronze, where we've almost been killed 3 times?
Hey, well, they're in school where everyone's been killed.
Yeah, I know. I feel like they just keep producing students and people keep disappearing. Like, you remember the first episode when she saw like a newspaper article and it was like 2 boys gone missing and she was freaking out? Like, it's so many more missing people. And this episode has something dark in it too.
Oh yeah, dude.
God, yeah.
So Willow runs off to go talk to Malcolm, and then Buffy shows up and is talking to Xander, and Xander's like, something's up. I don't like how happy Willow is. This isn't who she is. And Buffy's like, yeah, you know what? You're kind of right. And he's like, I don't know about this Malcolm guy. And Buffy's like, oh, it's a guy at a school. And then Xander, in all of his wisdom, is like, yeah, I could say that I'm anything on the internet. No one's checking. I could say what did he say? It's like a disabled Amish woman or something like that.
At one point he goes, I could say I'm a high school student. And I was like, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, right?
It's like, yeah, you aren't what you are.
Yeah, and Buffy's like, but you are. And he's like, no, I mean, I know that.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where like, I think they heard the people being like, I don't believe this guy's in high school.
But yeah, so then both of them get really suspicious of this Malcolm character. Did
you notice there was a part when they were going back and forth and then he just starts staring at her awkwardly?
Yeah, he's like staring at her boobs, I think.
Yeah, and she's like, what are we doing? He's like, I don't know. We've got to find out. And it was just like this awkward staring moment that, I don't know. I wasn't sure what he was like. It looked like he's staring at her boobs, but she's not like exposed boobs and he's like straight in front of her. It just was weird. It was like a weird edit to leave. I don't know.
Yeah, I also got to mention that Buffy's shirts in this episode are whack as fuck, dude.
At one point, she looks like she's mid-workout.
Yeah, like she's wearing like a tank top with like a weird cartoony cat on it. It was like a Bratz doll of a unicorn or something. And then the next one, she has another one of a similar style. And I'm like, what is this?
I don't normally get into the fashion or costumes, but the jacket that she's wearing when they go to Willow's place, that like leopard print. I was like, when did she get that?
Yeah.
And why is this what she put on for this fight?
Yeah. After we see them bonding over how suspicious they are of Malcolm, we see Fritz on the computer carving something into his arm.
He's carving an M.
Yeah.
I think so. He's carving like Malek's name. So I figured that was going to come back up where like someone's going to be like, Malek. Let me go to the... Giles goes to his like index cards of his Rolodex of demons. Oh, Malek, the corruptor, yeah.
Well, I was expecting like everybody to be doing that, like the carving. of the name into the arm. Like, so I was expecting somebody to like notice it. Like, there's no reason for him to put that into his arm because nobody calls it out later.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, oh, it's a weird, freaky thing that he's doing. Also, there's another thing later we find out about the computer science teacher, and this is a red flag that I'm like, I don't get how this was missed.
Right.
But yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, he's cutting into his arm.
He's cutting into his arm.
Oh, I did want to bring up that there's this great, like, almost throwaway line when Xander's coming to talk to Buffy or whatever, and they pan to a kid that's on a laptop, and he's talking about his project. Yeah. And he's like, Nazi Germany was well-organized society. He's like, wait, what? I didn't type this. Who's been on my project?
Yeah.
It's just like this great, like, oh, Malek's messing stuff up.
Yeah, he's starting to mess up some school kids' term papers.
Yeah.
What a menace.
Yeah. Should have never had that early 90s laptop hooked up to the internet. That non-existent Wi-Fi.
That laptop looked so silly.
Yeah. That thing.
I loved it, though.
Yeah. Once he plugged it into the Ethernet.
Oh,
yeah.
That was the height of technology at that point.
Oh, my God,
though.
yeah.
Whew. So, yeah, then the next day, Willow's late to school, and Buffy's like, well, this isn't like you. You're a nerd. Why are you late to school?
Yep, pretty much.
And Willow's like, sorry, I was up all night talking to Malcolm. And she's like, you really got to stop. You got to get back to your studies. This isn't like you. And then Willow's like, sorry, I don't have guys throwing themselves at me like you. This is the first guy that's ever been interested in me. Why aren't you happy for me? And Buffy's like, I am happy, but I'm suspicious. And then Willow's like, Malcolm said you would be suspicious. And I was like, ooh, Malcolm turning Willow against Buffy.
And then Buffy has one of my favorite lines. And she's like, Malcolm's right. And walks away. And I was like, damn. Like, she didn't, like, she just was like, all right. She took Malcolm's words and was like, yeah, he's right. 100%. I was like, damn, that's a great comeback to that. Normally it's like, oh. But yeah, that was. And does Buffy have guys throwing themselves at her? Because I feel like she doesn't. Either she's a loser or she's super hot. They can't figure out which one they want. She's
got Xander, Angel, and Owen that have been at least in 8 episodes. She's got 3 guys.
Yeah.
That's quite a bit.
One turned out to be a vampire. One's a weird action freak, and the other one's Xander, so that doesn't count. Even though Willow loves Xander.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Owen was the worst of the bunch.
Yeah. I mean, Angel's a winner.
Yeah, Angel's the man.
Yeah.
Killed a gypsy family or whatever. Put a curse on him.
He's cursed.
Anyway.
He's cursed to be a moral vampire.
Anyway, hold on. Did you catch Buffy throwing a hard midget in this episode?
Oh yeah, that was when they were talking, right? Xander.
Yeah.
He's like,
I don't remember.
He could be a circus freak or a midget or it was some.
Yeah.
I think she said midget earlier when she first started talking to Willow.
Yeah, I remember.
No, he could be like a midget or something like that.
Yeah, he said something that I was like, whoa, 1997 calling.
Yeah, it was something hard, yeah.
And then there's also something weird like that later on in the episode that I wrote down. I was like, this is fucking really bizarre.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up when that dude Fritz is carving in his arm. He starts saying like, I'm jacking in. I'm jacked in. I'm jacked in. And I was like, what are we going to pan down to? And I like he was already super aggro to begin with. Like he was already aggro before he even met Malek.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was easy to turn.
So after Buffy's interaction with Willow, she's like, I got to enlist the help of some other computer nerd. So she goes to that guy Dave to ask him about computer stuff. Like, hey, can we trace back if somebody's emailing me, like, can we trace back like what computer? And he's like, I mean, there's no way. That'd be way too hard to do. And then she's like, I'm just worried about Willow. And he's like, don't worry about Willow.
Leave her alone.
Yeah, it's like, dude, way to raise some more suspicion. Like, you already know that Buffy's suspicious.
Yeah, and I'm like, hey, dude, Buffy's talking to you. Like,
right? But then Buffy's like, are you Malcolm, Dave? And he's like, what? No, I'm not Malcolm, but dude, stay out of it.
Yeah. He's like, oh, God, I wish I was Malcolm. Like, it's like, why don't you just pretend you're Malcolm? You could just start dating Willow, like, right away.
Yeah. But so then Buffy's talking to Giles about the whole situation. She's like, this is really weird, isn't it? And then Giles is like, it sounds like a bunch of bull crap. He's like, she's talking about how weird Dave and Fritz are being. And he's like, yeah, well, they never were normal anyway. It's like they weren't the height of normalcy to begin with.
Yeah.
And he doesn't understand. He hates computers, dude.
At the end, I thought they were going to have some overly elaborate reason why he hates computers, but they just kind of went with a little simple one. But I was like, what kind of trauma happened to him?
A computer killed my mom.
Yeah. Like, jeez.
But yeah, he's super against them. He like refuses to learn them. And so they're trying to get a plan together. And and he's like, well, we need to figure out what's going on with Dave. And then Buffy's like, well, I could follow him.
No, Giles suggests she follows. She follows him. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, and do what? Like get dark sunglasses and a trench coat? And he's like, well, you don't need to be that ridiculous. And as soon as she said that.
Yeah. I was like, wait. I was like, hard cut. Here we go.
Exactly. Hard cut to her following Dave in a dark glasses and a trench coat.
Yeah. But I love that it wasn't super spy.
Yeah.
It was like her, like she had her pink sunglasses and her like fur, her like faux fur coat with the like high collar. So I was like, yeah, Buffy's doing it her way, which is very conspicuous. Not inconspicuous.
Absolutely. So she follows Dave to some kind of computer research lab. I forget what the acronym was.
It was CRB, I think it was, or something. Yeah. And I guess some research lab. Yeah.
So she sees Dave go in there, and then there's a camera there, and Fritz is tuned into the camera. And he's like, oh, she's way too close. We got to do something about her. And then the computer just types up, kill her.
And then Fritz says, party.
Yeah.
What? And there's a part earlier when Fritz is on the computer and she's like, the computer science teacher's like, hey, you two have been logging a lot of hours on the computer. And they're like, big project. She's like, oh, cool. It's going to be something, yada, yada. He's like, you'll die.
Yeah. She's like, is this something I'll be excited about? And he's like, you'll die.
Yeah. And it's like, man, he is one note.
Yeah. Well, it's also, I don't ever remember hearing you'll die as like a term of excitement.
No, like, I almost died. Like, you can exclaim, like, I don't know. Yeah, it's something, but it's really a reach right there.
Yeah.
And she's not even ever under any danger,
Yeah, and she's also not ever remotely suspicious.
How? How is she not?
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
It seems like she only has 2 students.
and I guess Willow shows up every now and then.
Yeah. But I will have to say, Miss Calendar, she's a smoke show.
Yeah, I was like, hey, Giles, if you have to pick between her and Buffy's mom, you definitely go with the teacher.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely go with the teacher.
Dude, she's a babe.
And they got this, like, flirty antagonism.
Oh, dude, at the end of the episode? Ooh. Wow.
Yeah.
But anyway, before we get to that, so then Willow's talking to the demon, and she's, like, flirting with him, and she's talking like, yeah, well, Buffy is suspicious of you. And then the demon goes, well, she's always making trouble. That's why she got kicked out of her last school. And then Willow's like, huh? And he's like, it's on her permanent record.
Yeah.
You know, that thing that
that
we talked about doesn't exist.
Yeah. And then she's like, hey, how do you know that? And he's like, you must have told me. And then she's like,
Yeah.
Now I'm suspicious. I didn't know who you were or where you came from before. But now.
Up until this point, I was willing to meet a stranger off of the internet. But now. Well, it's also like, why didn't the demon just say, you told me? Like, instead of saying you must have told me, just be like, you told me. Like, they've been talking for hours and hours. There's no way Willow can remember every single thing that...
And what else is Willow talking about? All she has is, hey, Buffy's a vampire slayer and we kill people all the time and we go to the Bronze. She has nothing else to type. Hey, you seen me get movies? Oh, no, I'm from 1408. 1418.
1418.
And movies aren't quite on the internet yet, so I have no idea.
Yeah.
Another thing about this scene, for some reason, this is where they decide to introduce the robot voice, and she's in a computer lab, and they are fully talking.
Yeah.
It is voice to, it's like text to speech. And I'm just like, why is she having this conversation out loud in a public place?
Put some headphones on, right?
You're typing. Just keep typing. Like, his computer voice is not the thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that'd be that. We just got that technology too. Like,
yeah. I mean, it wasn't that. I guess we're seeing a little bit of Age of Ultron.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So then the computer teacher's now talking to Giles about how he hates computers still. Like, their conversation is getting a little repetitive at a certain point.
Have we gotten to the point where Xander has his moment where he can deliver some information? Because he tells Buffy about the computer lab.
I might have skipped that in my notes, actually.
Yeah, I think they go to the place and he's like, no, maybe I don't know exactly what it happens. But at some point, they're in the computer lab, the library, which they go to for information. And she's like, hey, I followed him and he was at this place. It was CRB. And then Xander's like, oh, I know that. That's a blah, blah, research facility lab. And they look at him like, what? I can know information. Yeah. And they're like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, but it is kind of a first.
Yeah. It's like, well, I know my uncle worked there as a janitor.
Yeah.
It's like, it's been closed down for years. And Buffy's like, it looked pretty open when I was there.
Yeah. And for whatever is happening, it seems like Malik has a whole army of people.
Right?
Like, that facility had trucks. People were like driving like forklifts around. There were boxes.
Yeah.
There's a guy in a lab coat.
There's a security guard out front, like looking at Buffy like...
There's a working security system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But, then the Buffy and Xander go to, like, enact some kind of plan, I guess. But this is where I was like, what the hell is going on here? So the computer teacher's talking to Giles about how he hates computers.
She comes in, like, right when they're, like, leaving. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, you guys are in here a lot.
Yeah. And she's like, why don't you like computers? Like, it's so awesome. We have all this information. And he's like, it's a bunch of baloney, not information. Information's in books. And then the computer teacher says, why do you want knowledge only in books that white men can only read? And then Giles looks at her like, what are you fucking talking about?
Dude, I thought that went from 0 to 100 way too quick.
And I wrote that down, like the quote. I was like, only white guys can get the knowledge.
Yeah, like, you want them in books where only white guys can get it. And I'm like, okay, there's some merit to that of like, okay, like he has these ancient texts. They're not accessible to most people. But like the internet wasn't accessible at this time to most, like everybody.
Yeah.
Also, that's not even close to his reasoning for not wanting to be on the internet. Like,
yeah.
He's not like, let's keep. I mean, and they're also in the whitest school in the world.
Yeah, dude, I've seen like maybe one black guy in this whole show, and he got killed.
Bouncer and the guy that talked to the dude that was lying about all the girls he slept with. Like,
yeah.
Like, but like, there's not even, there's nothing there. But yeah, it wasn't like Giles has not trying to do this as a way to keep books out of people's hands, which he should be doing. By the knowledge that he gives later, I wrote like, what?
Dude.
I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, but that line, it's sure.
Yeah, I was like, what are you talking? Like, oh, books. Black people can't read books.
Asians never read books. These ancient texts that have come from all over the world.
Yeah, like, what are you getting at, Calendar?
Oh, you just want white men to get it, not women, huh? Because women just live on the internet. Like, what are you talking? Like, it just like went to, like, there's a point there, but this is not the place.
Yeah.
Like,
so
that's not even his reason.
No, dude. It's just like that he's old and he's like, I don't want to learn this new technology.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you don't want to get on TikTok, huh? You just want to keep everything on Facebook. Like,
racist.
Yeah.
You bigot.
Like, jeez.
But this is when she opens the demon book and she's like, what the hell? I mean, like, look at this book. This is a piece of junk. Like, what? There's not even anything in this book. And then Giles sees it and he's like, oh no.
Yeah.
And he takes it and he's like, all right, I'll talk to you later. And she's like, what? Weren't we having like a fight? And he's like, yeah, we're done. See ya.
Yeah. Which I kind of loved, but it seemed like if they were having a fight, it would have been better if they had hooked up before.
Right.
Because he's like, we're having a fight, don't walk away. I'm like, you came in here to start a nonsense fight for no reason.
Yeah, like, to accuse Giles of being racist.
Sexist.
And racist.
Yeah, I guess. Dude, I don't know what she's...
I did like when she said that, like, he whips his head around and is like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. And then they're like, oh no, there's a demon in a book, don't worry about it.
Yeah, like, okay, yeah, I guess I am racist. Anyway, see ya.
Yeah.
So then Dave sees Buffy and she's like, hey, have you seen Willow? I haven't seen her in a while. And he's like, she wants to meet up with you in the girls' locker room. Why would Willow tell him that?
Because I wrote in my notes, oh, the murder locker room.
Yeah, right? And, there's an attempted murder here because Fritz is in there. He turns the shower on and he lays some wires nearby. Mm-hmm. And Buffy's like, Willow? Walks right into the trap. She's like, are you taking a shower?
Like, what? Hey, can you tell Buffy to see me in the shower?
Right?
What? Willow doesn't work out. They don't have gym anymore. They don't have gym anymore after that girl's hands caught on fire.
Yeah. So Buffy goes to turn off the shower that's on. The water's getting extremely close to the wires. Mm-hmm. Dave pops up and he's like, Buffy, look out. And then she sees the wire and then gets electrocuted and zapped and jumps through. And the noise that she makes is just like a, ooh.
Like she goes flying through the air, falls over the bench. I love that she gets thrown across the screen in this show.
Dude, me
it's
too.
My favorite part.
I love all of the people getting thrown across
like anytime
the room.
She's in a fight scene, she's going to get thrown into a wall or tossed somewhere. And like that stunt person, like, what do I have to fall over now?
Yeah. Dude, also like last episode when Angel got thrown out the window. Dude, like it's so funny.
Yes. Oh, did like she's they said like, oh, you kind of were grounded or whatever, but like she's got like leather shoes on, right? And she's not touching anything.
Well, I think she had like rubber soles on her shoes, but they also said like if you weren't the Slayer, that would have killed you.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if that would have killed her in general. Like I think if she's not touching that metal or touching like the water and it's just on her shoes, I don't think it's gonna be that crazy death electrocution. Like she would have had to be barefoot.
Let's try it out. Let's do it ourselves.
I've gotten like a little bit of electric shock from like a C-stand with a light on it that was like out in the rain. And you touch it, you're like, oh wow, that is definitely giving off some electrical charge.
Dude, I got electrocuted one time in my basement in Baltimore. We had this metal fan, and for some reason I don't know what happened. I grabbed the handle and it was like and like I couldn't let go of it. Yeah. And then when I eventually did let go of it, I jumped in the air and ran across the room like a cat and just like started staring at the fan like, what the fuck was that?
How old were you when this happened? Was this...
Probably like 15 or 16.
Okay.
It was wild, dude.
Yeah.
I felt more alive than ever, though. I'm not going to lie.
And you've been touching that fan ever since.
It's the most alive I've ever felt. But so anyway, Dave runs into the computer room and he's screaming at the computer like, I can't do it. I can't kill her. I can't do it. And then Malik is like, what are you talking about? You promised that you'd kill her. And he's like, yeah, but now I saw like that she could die. I don't want to do it. And then he's like, well, now you're a huge disappointment. And I thought you loved me. And he's like, I mean, I do, but I ain't gay.
Like, who do they think this is? Like, how is he convincing them? Like,
right? So then the computer, and this is very clever. The computer starts typing up a suicide note that's like, Mom and Dad, I miss you. Please love me forever. And blah, blah, blah. Love, Dave. And Dave's looking at it like, what? And then you see Fritz behind him and Fritz kills him.
Yeah. Darkest moment, I think, in the series so far.
It was very dark, but
I mean, when this, like, I love that they were having an argument and then it wasn't like fine. It was just like, it just starts typing the suicide letter. Like, that's the most threatening.
Yeah, dude.
It's like, wait, what's happening? Oh, no.
Yeah. As soon as I saw it started typing it, I was like, oh man, that's so clever.
That's clever and dark.
Well, I was also at that point like, well, how is the computer? Because we haven't seen Malik in real life anymore. So I was like, how's the computer going to kill? He's just going to print the suicide note.
Oh, no, I knew Fritz is his hitman.
Yeah. So then Fritz kills him.
It is kind of convenient that this happened to Buffy and she doesn't go, Dave, what was that all about? She goes, I need to talk to Giles. You go straight to the guy who knew the setup was happening and you get information.
Yeah, like, it's just, and not like, what are you doing in the girls' locker room?
Yeah, and my shoes are smoky.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, but instead she goes to Giles and she's like, "What does my hair look like? Is my hair messed up?"
Yeah,
love it.
She's still a teenage girl.
Love it. So then Giles, Xander, and Buffy basically deduce that Malik is in the computer, and it seems like none of them know how to work a computer because Buffy's typing with like chicken pecking typing.
I mean, yeah, like the way they get to, oh yeah, it's in the computer is like kind of interesting. I forget exactly how they get to it, but then they like look at this computer.
Yeah, like, then you see the slow like scan-o-matic like zoom in.
It's like the Zoolander scene. It's in the computer?
Yeah. So then they go over to the computer and they're like, why don't we just, I don't know, try and delete it.
I was like, okay, cool.
Like, all right. So then they have a file that's titled Willow.
Yeah.
And they
Why?
Right.
What?
Yeah. And then Buffy's like, all right, I guess I just drag it to the trash. And then as soon as she does it, Malik's demon face shows up on the computer. It's like, hey, don't try to delete me. And then she's like, well, that settles it. He's in the computer.
Yep, that's a demon, and that's what he looked like. I was like, how did he manifest his face?
I have no idea, but it's all pixelated.
Yeah.
I love it, dude.
So
it was
good.
so funny.
It's so good.
So funny, dude. So then Buffy's like, all right, well, I'm going to go and try and find Willow in the computer lab. Giles, you do some research on how to defeat this guy. And I don't know what Xander's doing at this point. I forget. But so I thought that this was the darkest part.
This part is real. Yeah, the whole situation is dark. Yeah.
Yeah. So Buffy goes into the computer lab and she's like looking around. She's like, Willow. And then all the computers turn on at once. And then you pan and you see Dave hanging with the suicide notes like stapled to his chest. I was like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah. So they went through with it.
Yeah.
He's hanging in the computer lab. He has a printed out suicide note on him, which is a dead giveaway that that's not, like, most suicide notes are handwritten. I'm not sure why, but I'm definitely, it's something impersonal about like A text edit doc, typed out and printed out.
Yeah, make sure that there's no typos in it.
He's big in computers, but he didn't email his folks or anything. He printed it out and put it on his body. It's like, it might as well have just said, don't look for the killer, it's me.
Yeah.
But he's hanging in the middle of the computer lab. I don't know what he's hanging off of. Maybe the dry, like those like...
those asbestos-filled ceiling tiles.
Those exposed wooden beams they have in computer lab ceilings. I don't know. But, dude, are they... Did the computer science teacher see this? Who got his body down? Like, did they ever explain... How did they explain to his parents, hey, he didn't really kill himself, but this demon did it? Like...
Well, at least they had the explanation of, like, he committed suicide this time. Like, previously, we just see people dead.
Yeah.
Like, we see the guy's headless body in the fridge, and, like, nobody has anything to say about it.
Yeah, are the police even still investigating that?
I have no idea.
But yeah, I just felt so, like, the parents getting that suicide note, like, that isn't the closure. Like, But as you say, that's probably better closure than... Hey, actually, it was a computer demon from 1400s Italy. They're like, you know what? I'll just go with the suicide story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes the simplest explanation is the best one.
Yeah. Somehow the computer science teacher lady doesn't see this.
Yeah. Well, I guess it happened after hours.
Is it? So maybe school closed at this point?
I have no idea.
It seems like it's middle of the day because she was in school when she said, "Oh, Buff, Willow wants to see you down at the locker room."
Oh yeah, that's true.
So this is happening middle of the school day, like.
But it is suspiciously empty. Like the locker room was empty and the computer lab was empty.
Yeah,
that's why. That's the only thing that I was like.
Maybe it's like after. Yeah, maybe school has let out, but
yeah,
still.
So this is like how many dead bodies have been inside of this school?
So many.
First episode, the guy in the locker. Yeah. Principal got eaten.
Principal, teacher beheaded.
Teacher beheaded.
Guy. Pig eaten. This guy.
I mean, she didn't die, but the hands on fire girl.
Yeah, Xander's friend who just has never shown up.
Well, also the guy in the first episode that Darla killed.
No, that's the guy.
That was at night.
That's the locker room.
Oh, right.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, never mind.
No, I mean, Xander's best friend from the first episode is just gone.
Well, he got killed at the Bronze. His body wasn't.
Yes.
His body wasn't in the school.
Yes, but it seemed
I'm
like
talking
if
about
you were
specifically
at the school,
in the school.
Yeah. Okay.
There's been at least 4 people in the school dead.
That would just never show back up to school, and no one's wondering. Yeah.
Dude, there's gonna be like 6 people in this school by the end of the show.
Yeah. Well, they keep making new people. Like these 2 guys came out of nowhere. As soon as I saw them, I was like, they're done. I was like,
So after we see Dave hanging, we know that shit's getting real. So Willow's home. She opens the door and is immediately like, "Mom, Dad," like she just opened it. Like you didn't even give him a chance.
Yeah. And like, just get into the house. Like,
they're not home. She goes to her room.
Why are they not home? Like, we don't like. This is our first time actually seeing Willow's house.
Yeah, pretty nice house.
Yeah, it looks fine. She's got a
cool room. She's got a cool room.
Yeah,
got a computer in her room.
Yeah,
which is, I feel like that was a rarity. Like my
house.
Oh,
yeah, it was the living room. It was it was the family computer. Like, you didn't have your own computer then. Everybody
shared a computer, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But then, so she gets an email. It's like, "You've got mail," and then it's from Malcolm, quote unquote Malcolm. That's like, "I can't wait anymore. I need to meet you tonight." And she's like, "Okay," and she just kind of shuts off the computer.
She shuts off the monitor. She keeps on the monitor shut off because that's definitely not iMac time. Yeah.
So then the computer comes back on. It's like, "You've got mail." Then the doorbell rings, and she opens the door, and she's like, "Hello," and she turns around, leaving the door open, and Fritz is behind her and chloroforms her.
Yeah, like she opens the door like, "Oh, Mom, did you forget your keys again? You live in a world where you know vampires and demons exist. Why are you just opening doors?"
Right?
And the door's glass. You can see through it.
Right? Dude. Don't you have like a peephole too?
I know. Like, first thing I do, hey, a lot of people have been dying in school, and I'm friends with the Slayer that people are trying to kill. Can we get a door with a peephole, or can I just install like security? Like, apparently security cameras are easy to install, I guess.
Or can I borrow a wooden stake for forever?
Yeah, a taser or something. They all should have some type of defense.
Yeah. But nope. She's got chloroformed, taken by Fritz.
Yeah.
And so now Giles is basically trying to... The way that he needs to make this demon go away is like there's some kind of ritual where everybody needs to be in a circle.
Yeah, from what we've seen in the beginning, which is good tie-in. They did this.
Yeah.
And it seems like really easy too.
Oh, yeah.
All you do is read like 3 lines, stand in a circle, and then you can get this demon to go away. Like,
yeah,
not even that hard.
Yeah, it's very easy. You just stand in a circle and say, get out of here. And he's like, no.
Yeah. He's like, no, I don't want to. Buffy is in the library with him, and she says, "Oh, we're gonna go try to find. We're gonna go to Willow's house to try to find her." And she's like, "You need to figure out how to get him out of the computer." And she's like, "Oh, well, use Miss Calendar to help." Mm-hmm. He's like, "Oh, I don't really want to." And he's like, "Well, fine, you figure something else out."
Yeah, he's like, "How am I going to explain to her that there is a demon on the internet?"
Yeah.
Buffy's like, "Figure it out, buddy. See ya."
Yeah.
So then we cut back to Giles, and she's like, "You need to either trick her into helping you, explain what's happening, or figure something else out." So I was expecting something else to happen with Miss Calendar and Giles. Mm-hmm. But Miss Calendar comes to the library.
Did he call her, or is she just coming in to continue arguing? Okay.
No, she calls him. Or he calls her, and she's like, "Hey, what do you need?" And he's like, "I need your help." And she's like, "What do you need?" And he's like, "All right. So there's a demon on the internet." I was expecting some kind of suave like trickery.
One of your students that you're kind of close with has been murdered and is hanging in your room.
Yeah.
And there's a demon on the internet. Yeah.
And what I love is he's like, "So there's a demon on the internet and we got to stop it and I need your help." And she's like, "I thought there was something going on." And I thought it was going to be something like she thought that there's like a computer virus and like she did. But no, she knows about demons. She's like, "I was thinking maybe it was like Kalos or Loki or something." Yeah. And then Giles is like, "Oh, no, it's Moloch." And she's like, "The Corruptor?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Wait a minute. Wait. How the fuck do you know about all this?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm into that kind of stuff. All
she
that
calls
information."
Herself like techno-pagan.
Yeah.
Because he asked if she's a witch.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to spell
she's
powers.
Like, I'm a techno-pagan. And then he's like, "Well, how do you know all this?" She's like, "All this knowledge exists on the internet too, dude." And he's like, oh, the internet might not be so bad after all.
And this is when I was like, all right, this makes a little bit of sense. And then it doesn't make any sense at all when you think about it. One, she knows who Moloch the Corruptor is, but she just looked at a book that had a giant demon on it and nothing inside of it and didn't go, "That's weird."
Yeah.
She's seen her students being really weird on the computer. She didn't go, "Hey, let me see what they're doing. Let me check their text records or anything." Nope.
No, Vance, what raises her suspicions is that there are power surges in places.
Yeah. I was like, that would not make me go, power surges. Demon in the internet.
It might be a demon in the internet. But we also
couldn't
overhear
couldn't be a hacker in general. Just a demon on the internet.
You also overhear like a news report about how like certain things are getting fucked up, like the economy is getting messed with, and certain members of the church are getting messed with. I can't remember.
I think was it a news report when like they were going into Willow's house or something. It was some I forget when it came up, but I didn't take notes on whatever they were saying. But it was definitely.
We also skipped over the part where like they're talking about all of the havoc that an internet demon could cause, and Giles is like, it could like mess up people's permanent records. And then somebody else says, like, it could mess up medical industry. And Buffy goes, it could mess up the nuclear weapons. It could launch nuclear weapons. And then Giles goes, it could mess with the economy. And Buffy goes, I think I topped everything when I said nuclear weapons. And he's like, yeah, you're right.
And I have to say, this episode, Giles is so overly British. Like I know he's British in general, but I've seen him in Ted Lasso, and I've seen him in one other thing. And he is going befuddled Hugh Grant levels of, like, when he says there's a demon in a computer, it's like, well, as you see, it's so, it's like, he's like, well, I guess you are right. It's so much of that it's just like, it's
yes, it is quite interesting.
Yes, well, if I push my glasses up a little, you see, if tea time with Spotted Tea, London, Margaret Thatcher, she's like, I'm like, I get it, dude, you're British, but like it's so over, like it's pushed to the limit this episode.
So Giles is enlisting the help of Miss Calendar to perform the ritual to get the demon back into the book, I guess. Buffy and Xander go to Willow's house to like try and find her, and she's not home. And they're like, oh God, where could they have taken her? They're like, oh, the CRB lab. And they're like, okay, well, let's go there. So Giles and Techno Pagan are like tip-tapping away on the computer. Buffy, I love this too. You see Buffy jump over the fence, but you only see the landing part.
Yeah.
You see her land over the fence, and then you just see Xander go, whoa! And just face plant on the ground.
If I'm Buffy, I'm like, do I need this liability with me?
Right? Like, what is he bringing to the table?
And is this before or after Buffy makes the most random phone call ever?
What's the phone call?
She calls Giles and is like, hey, we're going to the CRB lab. And he's like, cool, we're working on it. And she's like, hurry.
Yeah.
And that's it. I was like, wait, there's no information in this scene at all.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason to make this phone call.
So now that we're at the lab, we see Willow waking up, and then Fritz and a doctor are there, and then there's like a table reserved for like a body.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, oh, I guess Willow's going to go in that. And then from out of the shadows, Robot Moloch, who looks like a Power Rangers villain.
Dude, I lost it.
I did too.
Lost it when I saw. Because I thought, and they do a great setup. They do a great misdirect here because they have the computer screen and they've already teased that he could show his face to Buffy. And he's like, oh, it's time for you to see me. And it's like this computer screen. And you're like, oh my God, he's going to do the face. And then Willow's going to go, oh! Or like, oh, he's not so bad. I can give it a try.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no one else is giving me any attention.
I'm not that shallow. But then like this metal hand comes down on the computer and it pans up.
Yeah.
And it's a robot Moloch with horns.
With horns, dude. Metal robot horns and like football pads.
He has control of all the internet, and this is what he's been like getting metal shipped over to Sunnydale.
Yeah, and he's like, these two constructed my metal body.
I was like, how did they make a fully operational robot in like a day?
Dude, there's just wires sticking out everywhere. It's so awesome.
Oh my God. It's such a great reveal. And you're like, okay, because like you're not gonna know the title of this episode in the 90s. It's just gonna come on and you're just gonna watch it. But man, it's so good.
So then he's like, look, I've got all these loyal servants. And he's like, Fritz, you love me, right? And Fritz is like, yeah. And it just snaps his neck.
I don't even know if he asked Fritz if he loved him. Because he was like randomly being like, I miss you brought me back to life. And I like this stuff. And I like being able to do things. And I miss things. And I miss doing this. And I miss killing. And he just snaps his neck.
Yeah, he said something like
inches away from Willow. Like she has she's seen so many murders and deaths. She doesn't even flinch when she.
Well, his speech is like, I have all this knowledge and it's so great and it was so awesome to be in the computer, but nothing really compares to touch. Yeah. And then he grabs Fritz's head. And that dude, the way that they snap their necks, just like they don't even. It's just like a quick turn to the left. Like it would.
It's like if the doctor was like, it's like if you were getting a haircut and the barber turned your head a little bit and you just died.
So then he's like, Willow, you love me, right? And she's like, no, dude. Like you lied to me. You're killing people. And meanwhile,
I love that she has to like rationalize why she doesn't.
Yeah. So like, I didn't know that you were a robot demon.
You just killed a dude next to her.
Well, also, who was that other guy that was in the room with them? Like, he's just standing there.
Well, he was the lab guy that Dave met up with. He's in that scene.
Okay.
But also, if you're him, you just saw him kill a guy that helped him. Like, Fritz has done nothing but help.
Yeah.
Like, Fritz is the person you don't kill in that situation. Because that guy,
he's loyal.
Yeah.
He's jacked in, dude.
He's jacked in. He's cannon fodder, man. You can send him out to fight Buffy. He'll take some punches.
Well, speaking of Buffy, she and Xander have broken into the lab at this point, and they're trying to bust into doors, and she like karate chops a security guard, knocks him out.
She runs up. It's like from a it's like high angle security cam shot. And the security guard comes over and she overhand rights him so hard and just knocks him out. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Like I need to see more Buffy just like wailing on regular people.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
She just walked over and laid him out.
Yeah, he's just dead on the floor, man.
I was like, jeez.
So then they get into a room and the robot Malik is suspicious, and he's like, he knows that they're in there because he has access to all the security cameras, locks them in a room. Buffy, it looks so half-hearted how she's trying to open one door.
Well, she said it's something. It was metal, it was reinforced steel or something.
Yeah.
They gave her that.
So then they lock them two inside this like little corridor, and then all this gas starts to start leaking. Like, that's not common. That's not in any building. Like, there's just like we need the emergency gas release to kill.
This building that's been shut down for years has all its power back on.
Yeah. And there's also some continuity errors here as well, because there's some scenes where like Buffy is trying to open the door and Xander is very clearly behind her, but then Xander is like in another part of the room and then he runs up behind her again. It's like, oof, that was a little rough.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were trying to go jump cutty there or what. I will say I wasn't paying that much attention. I think I was writing some notes down when they were doing the whole, we're trapped in the gas thing. Because I was like, they're going to get out. They're not going to die of gas.
So now Willow is like, I will never love you. You're a liar. And then Robot Malik is like, well, if you're not going to love me, I guess I got to kill you. And he starts menacingly walking towards her, grabs her head, and she's just like, ah!
Yeah. Put up no effort to run, no effort to move. And we've seen him snap heads in one move.
Yes, exactly. Like, why is Willow's neck like insanely strong out of nowhere?
It's just, and there's this demon thing that he just likes to snap necks. Like, does he wants you to love him and then he kills you? Like, what is his thing?
I don't know what the end goal is.
Oh, there's a great line where I don't know why he thinks this is going to convince Willow that she should love him. He's like, I know everything. There's a man in Reseda who's just putting out a hit on his wife. Good for him.
Yeah.
Also, we have to talk about this. They went with the computer voice for him. They went with the like really timid computer voice.
Willow, why won't you love me?
Yeah, and I'm like, why not have him with his Malik voice?
Yeah.
I just prefer the like, don't try to delete me.
Like
I want that guy, not, but I'm just a giant demon boy.
Well, I guess when he's trying to convince her to love him, he would be like that. because he's the corruptor and he's a manipulator or whatever.
Well, we saw him do that with Carlo before. He didn't try to change his image or anything.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, but I
thought it was an interesting choice to go with like the very bland computer voice instead of just menacing Malik. Did he become menacing Malik at the end?
Yes.
When he gets back in his body. Okay, maybe that's what it was going for.
Yeah.
Once he's off the internet, he's more. Yeah.
Well, I thought it was like once he's not trying to convince Willow, like he would be whatever. Fuck it, I'm going to show you.
Even when he was
even
when he was about to break her neck, he was still a computer voice. But I think once he got his body back in there, then he went demon voice. All right, good job. I retract my statement.
So I don't know how, but Buffy and Xander bust into the room, sees Willow about to get killed. How did they get in? Did they just open the door?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, it's not that important. What is important is Buffy sees Willow about to get killed, runs and drop kicks Robot Malik, and she's like, "Woo! That was really hard. That's a metal man."
Yeah. Wait, I think this is after Giles casts a spell, right?
Yeah, he's starting to cast a spell.
Okay, so they get in there and drop kick him before they.
I think it's happening like concurrently.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly. Yeah, it's happening
at the same time.
I don't know the beats of like when he's out of the body and then she drop kicks because No, I think they like
he's still in the internet. They're in the process of starting the ritual when she drop kicks him.
Yeah, and I think that's when he's starting to like freeze up because they started the ritual. Then he stops killing. I think that's when the gas comes off. He stops trying to kill Willow, and then Buffy comes in, drop kicks him, and then goes, "Oh, he's all metal." Yeah, Buffy. He's a giant metal robot. And then that's when they start running away.
Yeah, and then I need to say, the Giles ritual that's being conducted. So Miss Calendar is typing as he's reading, and it's literally just him being like, "By the divine powers, you must be expelled. Go away." And then he's just alone with Miss Calendar screaming.
Yes.
"Be gone," or whatever. And like, I want to know like what she's typing when he's just screaming.
It's all caps.
Yeah. Exclamation points.
Because he doesn't know how to type either.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess it'd be easier to read and then type. This is like when he got the witch out that time. And that. Like this will be his action scenes. Is him screaming to high heaven. Yeah. And it was a great one. It's like, by the circle of Kalas or whatever. He's like, "Oh, that's Kalas with a K."
Yeah. Like she knows she's a techno-pagan.
She knew who Malik was, but couldn't tell from his picture on the cover of a book.
Yeah, and the way that they're forming the circle, they need to form a circle is Miss Calendar is like reaching out to people online to like form a circle, which is pretty clever. But then Malik loses his powers and kind of gets powered down, it looks like. And then they start to run away and they're like, "Okay, we escaped that."
And Xander has a moment. Xander has his moment where he punches lab coat guy.
Yeah.
And then gets up and runs out and goes, "Hey, I punched someone. I
actually did something."
Like, I love the meta. I love the meta here.
So then they run out and they think that Malik is dead, but he busts through the wall just like a Power Rangers villain, dude. Like, he's so Power Rangers-y. Kool-Aid man.
And it's blocked perfectly because Xander just runs the opposite. He just crosses where Malik comes out. So it's like, "Oh, I'm going to go this way or something." And then Malik comes out of the thing. Because when Giles in the library, Giles looks at the book and he's like, "Where is?" It's like he's not back in the pages. I'm like, "Yeah, that would never have made sense."
Yeah.
But then I was like, "Where is he?" They're like, "Where is he?"
Yeah, the ritual is completed, and you know that because the computer monitor is sparking and smoking. And
is that everybody's computer? Everybody's in a circle, or
I guess so. So then they're like looking for evidence that Malik is been taken back to the book and he's not in the book. So they're like, well, where is he? He's still inside the robot body, but he just doesn't have access to the internet now. So he's like, you son of a bitch. I am stuck in this robot body. I was so powerful and now I'm just this robot. So I'm going to kill you. And he punches Xander across the room. Mm-hmm. Then Willow's like, hey, you wanted me to love you? Well, guess what? We're breaking up, and starts like hitting him with a fire extinguisher. It was so lame.
And I was like, if she wins with this fire extinguisher, I will never buy it. Like, I will buy angels flying around. I'll buy any weird mystical stuff, but I do not buy that Willow could beat this robot up with a fire extinguisher. And luckily, they did not let that happen. He slaps it out of her hand and then throws her.
Yep.
Into the loving arms of Xander, who's on the ground.
Yep.
I mean, I had to go back and watch that again. Like, she gets thrown so far across the room.
Yeah, man. It's like a whole hallway.
Yeah.
And so then, and as soon as I saw this, like Buffy's standing in front of like a high voltage panel or something. She turns and looks at it.
High voltage panels that are in the middle of hallways.
Yeah. She just turns around and looks at it.
Yeah.
And then like looks back at Malik. And like, how does Malik not notice that she just did that?
And
how
then
does
she
he not
side
notice?
Shuffles, like then she side shuffles over to the left.
Yeah, like right in front of it. He's like, I'm going to punch you in the face. And she's like, give it your best shot. And then ducks it so easily.
Yeah.
Malik's hand goes into the high voltage thing. He's electrocuted, explodes all over the place. Yeah. And that's the end of Malik.
But while he was being electrocuted, it was the most alive he's ever felt.
Yeah.
There's a part earlier with Xander, another meta moment when he's like, for me, the audience, what we're saying is Malik is in the computer.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, man, him just, I guess they were like, all right, the episode's done. We've done all our twists and turns. Let him just electrocute himself and blow up.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't even like it was like punch. She sees it last second. He comes down and she moves out of the way. It's not accidental. She's just like,
Yeah.
It's so obvious.
Yeah. Like, it looked like she tried to look a different way to, like, throw off suspicion, I guess. Yeah. But it was so obvious. She positioned herself exactly in front of it.
Yeah.
So good. So,
and I always wonder what these shows, like, maybe in season 2, I'll get over the fact that nothing happens in the school. There's no police presence, no security present, no detective questioning people. Like the guy in the lab coat, they got punched. Like, what's his deal?
Yeah, the security guard. He wake up and like,
there's a whole group of security guards that were in that building chasing after them.
Yeah. So we go to the next day. We're at Sunnydale High School, of course. And Giles walks into the computer lab. He knocks on it. He's like, hey, I just wanted to thank you for helping out with the demon stuff. Maybe computers aren't that bad. She's like, yeah, why do you like books over computers? And he's basically like, I don't know. It's just so cold. Like the computer information, like the smell of books takes you back. And it's like one of the most heightened senses that you can have. And it takes you back to learning. And like, I think knowledge is like in books, and like, it'll take me a while to get used to this computer stuff, but maybe you could help me out, blah, blah, blah. And then as he's walking out, he's like got an earring of hers, like some kind of spiral dangly earring. And he's like, here you go. You left this in the library.
No, I thought he said he found this in one of the books.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I guess his books come with jewels now too. That I hope he researches them before he starts handing stuff out.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they do definitely have jewels in it. That those demon eyes were definitely rubies on the front of that book.
That was a point I want to bring up. When they start talking about Malik and the book and all the stuff, he's like, "Oh yeah, there are books that in ancient times they would trap demons in books, and if you read them, then they would come back." And I'm like, so why are you letting kids handle books that you got shipped over from some random place? Like, if you know this, why are these kids even allowed to look at books? Like, you shouldn't even be. I'd be afraid to read a book if that's the case.
Yeah, never read a book.
Yeah, like, that goes against everything. He's like, is this the book that's going to unleash the demon? I don't know. Gotta read it. Like, geez, like, if you know that, what are you doing?
Yeah. So he makes mention of something like, well, I'm not the one. She's just like, you're so weird. And he's like, well, I'm not the one with a dangly spiral from my ear. And then she goes, who says it's dangling from my ear? And I was like, oh. And then Giles gives her a look like, oh, Miss Calendar.
Oh, so that was something of hers that fell out into a book that he was giving back to her. Because I missed that last line. I missed that. I saw the exchange. I knew it was flirty sexy, but I didn't fully hear it. Where do you think that was dangling from?
I've
like wait, it has to be like a belly button ring at most.
You can't nipple piercings. I've never seen a dangly nipple piercing
in a single no, that just wouldn't be.
I've seen clit piercings as well, and it's not dangly. Like, that would be so painful.
Also, no way that falls out on a book in the library.
Right?
So it would have had to be a belly button piercing at best.
Yeah. Unless she, like, took it out and was like, hey, I want Giles to find this.
Yeah. Because I assumed they had hooked up when she came in with the sunglasses and the coffee. She came in like she had a rough night.
Or a great night.
A great night.
Reading books.
Reading books, yeah.
So then we cut to our three heroes, Buffy, Xander, and Willow. And Willow's just still kind of lamenting the loss of Malcolm. She's like, I can't believe I fell for a demon on the internet. I'm such a putz. And then Xander's like, I fell in love with a teacher that turned out to be a plant murderer. And Buffy's like, and I got the hots for a vampire. It's like, and then they're all just like, yeah, we're doomed to never be in a normal relationship. And then there's like this long pregnant pause of them like realizing like, oh man, our lives are terrible.
Yeah, they like
the episode ends.
Yeah, they like laugh it off, and then it's just like, oh, we're pathetic. And I gotta say, this is probably my top favorite last scene ending, next to like the witch and the statue, the trophy.
Oh yeah. No, it was a great ending to the episode. Just like, ooh. We get a reveal of like, you know, maybe there's a weird piercing that we don't know about from Miss Calendar. Hopefully she comes back up. It looks like she does. She has her own Wikipedia link.
Oh, I feel like she's gonna. It seems like she's a love interest character. She got more. So. She got more lines and more like tangible stuff than like a person that just shows up for one episode. You know.
Yeah, her name is Jenny Calendar. So I expect to see her show up again.
Yeah, I'm gonna in classic boys watching girls fashion. I'm still gonna hold tight to my prediction that Giles somehow hooks up with them with the Buffy mom. I'm just gonna. That'll be my thing for this.
You want to hear a bold prediction that I'm gonna throw out there right now?
Go for it.
I'm predicting that at some point Giles is going to die, and Willow is going to be the new Watcher.
Okay.
And that is based off of absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
But I feel like that could be something that could happen.
All right.
It's not as fun as yours, but...
Yeah. I go with fun predictions. You go with like, get this guy out of here. I don't know if Giles is going to die, but if he were to die, I think Willow would take over that role because they become redundant after a while.
Yeah. I mean, now it's like they've got three Watchers. Like Willow does a lot of the research. Now we got Miss Calendar and Giles. Giles seems to know nothing.
He's going to get aged out. Like that book is on the table. You haven't opened it. What are you doing?
Yeah.
But he's British, so.
Yeah. But that is the episode. I, Robot, You, Jane. You have anything else to add?
Let's see. I'm jacked in. No, I think that's really all. I mean, it's just like I don't understand how the teacher, Miss Calendar, didn't notice any of this stuff. Like, all of it was happening under her nose. And I just don't, I mean, I hope to one day get past this, but I can't get over that this school just has someone hanging in a computer lab committing suicide. And school goes on as usual. They're just talking about going to the Bronze that night. Like, they just float a robot demon and like, Bronze tonight? Bronze tonight.
Oh, man. Well, next episode, already stoked for it. This is the episode for iRobot You, Jane. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned next week when we talk about episode 9, The Puppet Show.
Ooh, this is going to be creepy. This is going to be them going against a live ventriloquist dummy.
Yeah, we're going to have to watch this one during the day because ventriloquist dummies freak me out.
Hey, I'll be the first one. Like, I saw a trailer for Child's Play when I was younger, and it freaked me out. I was like, toys can come to life, My Buddy dolls. And I've seen every, like, Chucky Child's Play movie since, kind of like immersion. But, there's like that R.L. Stein one with the dummy that comes to life.
That's the one that's the one that messed me up was Slappy the dummy from Goosebumps.
Yeah, so,
man.
This is gonna be fun because I love characters fighting inanimate objects. Like just the dummy on someone's neck and I'm like wrestling it. I love it.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's just like the little dummy legs flinging around.
And then the shadow play and the little sounds of
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be so
I really hope that's what we get and it's not something else.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll find out next week. If you want to reach out, it's boyswatchingbuffy@gmail.com, boyswatchingbuffy on Instagram. And that's about it. Thanks for listening. See you guys.
I'm jacked in. I'm jacked in. I'm jacked in.
Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.